Hello, everybody. Welcome to this week's episode of the MaffmanJones movie podcast. It's still technically untitled, but we're getting there. We're progressing, and I have ideas. And one day, when I have a son and a daughter, they will look up to me and they will say, "Daddy, why do you still not have a title for your podcast network?" Yes, that's going to be a question for the rest of my life, too. Existential Crisis 101. Why can't I name my damn show? Just one of my flaws, I guess. But yeah, welcome to this week's show. We're a little late this week. There hasn't really been any news that's popped, in my opinion, that's worth talking about for an entire show. The Charlie's Angels trailer just came out today when I'm recording this, and I thought it was an enjoyable trailer. I've had a low-key crush on Kristen Stewart since Zathura, so looking forward to that. Her, Naomi Harris, and the other actress. And Elizabeth Banks is directing. Patrick Stewart's in this movie. It looks like it could be a lot of fun. I think I haven't seen the movies with the Drew Barrymore. I almost said Charlize Theron. Drew Barrymore, Lucy Liu, and Cameron Diaz in a while. I saw them maybe once or twice years ago, and they were fine. If it's a good, entertaining popcorn movie, that's what I'm looking for. At least in my opinion. Also, yeah, about the news last week about the Spider-Man 4 comic book thing, turned out to be a J.J. Abrams comic book project with his son that is creating a new character called Cadaverous, and it looks like Mask of the Phantasm in Spider-Man form in terms of visually. The cover art reminds me of it so much. But yeah, I went on a whole video about what Spider-Man 4 could be in comic book form or whatever, and it was all for nothing. But today, if you haven't seen my little artwork today, I'll move this for a second just so you can see it. Get a good look at it. 5, 4, 3, no. Yeah, but today I want to talk about Spider-Man more than most, and then we're going to talk about some reviews of some movies I've seen later on. But I always want to talk about the big topic first that I want to talk about, and we're going to talk about Spider-Man. So, Far From Home has released to the critic public. A lot of people have seen it. A lot of my colleagues and friends have seen it. And of course, because I don't get screeners or I don't get invited to things in New York, I'm just me. And that's perfectly fine. I don't need screeners. I don't need any of that fun bells and whistles. I just want to see movies on time and pay $15 every week. Actually, it's cool. I enjoy paying money to see movies. But it would be cool to see screenings. So if anybody has a hookup out there, holla at your boy. But yeah, anyway. So yeah, Far From Home has been released to a lot of critics. A lot of people have seen it. The premiere was yesterday as I'm recording this. And there's a lot of buzz going around. A lot of people saying, typical Marvel premiere stuff. It's the best movie that MCU's ever done. It's the best Spider-Man movie that's been ever made. Tom Holland's the best. And, this and that, blah, blah, blah. This movie's the best. This is the best. This is the best. This is the best. That doesn't surprise me because that's just how critic culture and hype culture is now. These people get invited to see movies, and they're unsurprisingly excited to see these movies. I would be the same way. I like to think that I temper my expectations when I see movies that I'm excited for, but we all get very excited, and when you want to put your tweet or your thoughts out there for the whole world to see, and when you're writing stuff like "This is better than Spider-Man 2" from 2004, you're gonna get retweets and you're gonna get things. You're gonna get attention, and that's fine. I don't agree exactly with what some people are saying. I'm like, okay, some of you are just drinking the. You can't eat Kool-Aid. You're drinking the Kool-Aid heavily, but there is a chance, that this is a really great movie, and that Jake Gyllenhaal is a great Mysterio, and that this story actually is a great Spider-Man story, and it furthers the story of the MCU in ways that are gonna blow people's minds. And I want to get into that a little bit. Just in general, I think I try to stay low on these things because I guess I'm a little bit of a Raimi shill, as I wrote on the board here, because the first two Spider-Man movies are my favorites of all time. The second Spider-Man movie is one of my favorite movies of all time, period. I think it juggles exactly what you want from a Spider-Man character and story exceptionally. You got the responsibility, you got the hardships, you got the romance, you got the action, and you got the crescendo of movie-making magic. Everything you want from a movie is in this movie. Yes, they're dated. Yes, but they tell incredible stories, and they cater not just to comic book fans, but to all fans. And I get it. I get it, though. These new movies, as far as comic book translation goes, it's more accurate. It does things that are fresh and new. And I'm here to say that why do we have to pick one or the other when you can just appreciate all of them for what they are? Even the Andrew Garfield movies. We have 3 iterations, and technically 4 now with Miles Morales in the animated series, which we're going to get more movies of those too, I'm sure. We have 4 incarnations of Spider-Man. And I either love one, or I like one, or I appreciate one. I like them all for different reasons. Even the Andrew Garfield movies, yes. But the first 2 Raimi movies are my favorites. But I hate when people go online and start talking shit about one or the other. Especially nowadays, people like to... The popular thing to do now is to say that the Tom Holland movie, Homecoming, is the best Spider-Man movie and all the other ones suck. Or the Raimi movies are not good. They're outdated. They're not good movies anymore. You know what? It reminds me... It just really annoys me because people grew up with these Raimi movies, including myself, and it's fine if you don't like. There are people who are growing up with Tom Holland movies, and it's perfectly okay that you don't really have investment in the Raimi movies, and you tend to cater toward Tom Holland's character more. I love Tom Holland. He's a great Spider-Man, great Peter Parker. I thought Homecoming was fine. It has some great elements in it, some really great twists, really great character work. Action when it's there is pretty good. I just think the story didn't really do much for me, but it did a lot for other people. People who are growing up, people who are in high school growing up with these movies, it's gonna latch onto them more because they can relate to it more. For me, I just think the camera work from Raimi, the story work from Raimi, the music from Danny Elfman, the villains. It was more bombastic, more outrageous. I just think, but I love the personality that was instilled into those movies. Even the third one, people have gone through the mill for Spider-Man 3, but looking back on it, it wasn't that bad. There are some really horrible moments in the movie, yes, that don't really mesh well and kind of lend to embarrassment. But I think at the end of the day, the story that it's telling works and succeeds in what it's trying to do, and it ends the entire trilogy on a pretty interesting but somber note. From what it seems, the Tom Holland movies are doing something. I like what they're doing with the Harry Potter thing, where it's kind of like they're growing up, and every year they're going on a new adventure. So I guess sophomore year was Homecoming. Far From Home will be junior year, technically speaking, and then the last movie in this trilogy will be graduation year, senior year, and then if they want to keep going, they can go into college and so on and so forth. And they're keeping this cast young and letting them grow up. They're letting the characters grow as the actors grow. And they're not just trying to force these actors to be older or younger than they actually are. They're kind of keeping it realistic here. But all I'm trying to say is that, as I speak into this mic about how much I love Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies, that why you gotta be malicious about it? Why you gotta be sadistic and animalistic about it? Can't we just all get along? Can everybody love everybody? Can't we just say, you know what, I like the Tom Holland movies more, but you know what, you love the Raimi movies, I get it, I understand that. It can't be that simple, right? I should be on the Raimi boards more often, I guess, because there's a whole Reddit board for Sam Raimi, and the Raimi fanboys, and I wouldn't call myself a Raimi fanboy, because I don't go out there and, talk smack about other movies because they don't do what the Raimi movies did. I just think it's sad that people have to attack each other. Going back to Far From Home, hearing a lot of things. I don't want to say anything outright because I don't want to spoil. I don't even notice. I haven't read anything, but I'm just people are insinuating, based on words I've seen, that the post-credit scenes for this movie are bonkers, and they have heavy implications that blow my mind already without having even seen the movie. And I might be wrong, I might be right in what I'm thinking right now, but I'm telling you, if what I'm thinking is true, and I see that movie in theaters, and that post-credit scene happens, and it shows something of what I'm thinking in my mind right now, I will not contain myself. I'm gonna go nuts. And I feel bad for my girlfriend, and for my friends, and my brother, whoever's gonna be there. It's gonna be fireworks, baby. But yeah. So, all I really wanted to say in this episode was that if you're a fan of Spider-Man, cool. If you're a young fan of Spider-Man, cool. If you're an older fan of Spider-Man, great. If you're a fan of the character, awesome. No matter what iteration of the movies you care about, we can all agree on one thing, is that we love Spider-Man as a character, and it's really awesome to see him thrive on the big screen. Lately, especially. I mean, back in my day, I sound like an old man because I'm really not old, but back in my day, we had the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies, and they were events because we didn't have comic movies coming out like a TV series every year or so with Marvel, with the MCU. It was Spider-Man 1, 2 years later Spider-Man 2, 3 years later Spider-Man 3, and then we thought, that's it for the time being. Once Iron Man came out, the whole world exploded, and what the implications for that movie were. And it's cool to hear that this movie is possibly setting up a whole new world of unpredictable stuff to move forward in the MCU. Because, as I mentioned in the prior episode, if they want to keep audiences interested in the MCU after Endgame, which is going to be possibly the biggest movie of all time, passing Avatar, because it opened up wide again this weekend coming up. Excuse me. I had a moment. But yeah, if they had to throw the audiences for a loop and do something completely different, completely chaotic and crazy, and it sounds like they're setting up something like in that likeness here. And if they're going where I think they're gonna go, well then, yeah, that's how you get more people to watch these movies, and possibly including my parents, who have only watched Guardians of the Galaxy so far. I made a video a while ago where I was like, I want to get them to watch the MCU movies, damn it. And they watched Guardians, they enjoyed it, and I want to get them down the road to watch these other big Avengers movies, and Homecoming, and Guardians too, because those are the ones I think that they should see. And then we'll be on the right track to watch these movies together. So they've been dominating the movie space for over a decade. The MCU, if they want to keep going, you gotta do something nuts. And if they do it, it's I'm very excited. I am. But we'll have more about this when the movie comes out next week. It comes out on Tuesday, so I'll be seeing it Tuesday night. Probably not Monday night because work, responsibilities, all that fun Peter Parker stuff. But I will have a review out there, and I'm probably going to do, like, spoiler-free thoughts and spoiler thoughts in the same video. I'm not sure yet. But I will obviously say when I'm going to talk about spoilers before I actually talk about spoilers. It depends on how I'm feeling after the movie comes out. I'm going to decipher that on my own, and I'll let you guys know from there. But let's talk about some reviews. I'll go in chronological order based on when the movies came out, but I saw Ma with some friends unexpectedly a couple weeks ago. I'm surprised it was still in theaters, honestly. I forgot. It came out like in May, but and there was a pretty decent audience for the movie too when I saw it. And it was like an 11 o'clock showing. And it was fun. This movie, for better or worse, is a great piece, a great acting piece for Octavia Spencer. You watch this movie for her. There are faults in the screenplay and the dialogue and the way the movie resolves. Some things pay off in ways that aren't really satisfying, in my opinion. But this is the Octavia Spencer show, and she has so much fun as Ma that you can't help but have fun with her too, even when she's just going statistically nuts. There's one scene involving her in a car driving that is probably one of my favorite scenes of the year, just because it was just so outrageously funny, and you could feel the palpable energy in the room when this moment happened. It was great. I'm not gonna remember it in a month probably, but whenever I think about Octavia Spencer, I'll think about this movie because it really showcases her acting range, and it's a great little add-in for Blumhouse, which continues to surprise with movies that people may not like, but at least they're doing different things and expanding on what they've already done great. And that's really it, I guess. If you enjoy little horror movies, thriller, it's not really a horror movie. I would call it more of a thriller, suspense thriller. But if you're into those kind of movies and you like Octavia Spencer, watch this movie. You might have a really fun time with it, but watch it with friends. I would recommend. I also saw Child's Play, the remake, the reboot. It's not really a reboot, though. It's a remake. It has nothing to do with the Brad Dourif Chucky movies. And there's a whole story with the man who created Chucky and Child's Play movies, licensing issue, like a whole thing where they were able to make a loophole and make a new movie that's separate from those movies while they're still making a TV show with the person who makes those movies, and it's a whole mess. It's a big mess, and I wanted to see it because I was curious to see how they differentiated themselves from what we've seen since the late 80s, and I wouldn't call Child's Play 2019 a good movie, but it's certainly entertaining. It's got the weirdest cast. Aubrey Plaza is a mother, and she basically plays it like Aubrey Plaza would, being a mother. So she's not really playing a mom, per se, or she's got the personality of a mom that I haven't seen on film, really, ever. Because her personality is just so her. She's so unique that it's hard to, like, tell Miss Plaza to be somebody else. Like, just be you. So she's fun in the movie, and she bounces good chemistry off with her on-screen son, who is really good in the movie and carries the movie well. Brian Tyree Henry, who's been blowing up right now, is really good in the movie, although he has a couple of lines that are just cringe to the top. But that's not his fault, it's the screenplay's fault. He does the best he can with what he's got. Mark Hamill as Chucky is really good, although there's nothing really memorable about him because there's no opportunity for Mark Hamill to show his personality because Chucky in this movie is an AI. He's just an AI that's gone unhinged because the plot of this movie is so generic in how they get him to be evil. All it took was to take a couple switches in the coding of this AI and go, nope, nope. Safety protocols, nah. And that's it. You can make any AI doll evil as long as you turn off a couple switches. But he has some fun sequences where he kills people, of course. There are some really great moments of lighting and cinematography. And it's really well produced, really well made, I would say. There are a couple sequences that I really enjoyed. When it gets nuts and it really leans into the stupidity, I think I enjoyed it a lot more. There's a scene in it's essentially like a Target or a Walmart with emphasis on electronics and toys, and that scene I really enjoyed because that's when it just gets, again, it leans into the stupidity of the plot, and that's when I really was able to just sit back and just enjoy, like, immense enjoyment there. When it's trying to take itself seriously, I didn't really care, but I did like how they kind of imply that Chucky is learning these things, like, as he goes. He's like a baby learning how to walk, essentially, but he's learning how to be a psychotic murderer, sociopath. But at the end of the day, he doesn't really have personality like Brad Dourif had, because the 80s plot is so insane. He's a dude who used magic sorcery to place himself into a doll. And the longer he lives in the doll, the more he becomes human. Like, that's just, I like that idea more than just a simple AI robot goes bad, you know? But for what it is, I enjoyed it a lot. But I wouldn't call this a good movie. It's not a good movie. At least in my opinion. There's a lot more going bad for it than there is going good. But what's good is fun. And I would not recommend seeing this in theaters. If you want to look for a fun horror movie, like kind of like Ma, you can't go wrong. Don't go alone. See it with people together, because at least you could laugh at it if you're not laughing with it. And that's really it for that. And now let's go on to the final movie of the day, Toy Story 4. Quick preceding thoughts before I get into it. My history with Toy Story is pretty resonant and emotional, and it's exactly what you think. I saw the first movie. I was born in the early 90s, so I grew up with Toy Story 1. I saw Toy Story 2 in theaters. I remember the theater I was in seeing Toy Story 2. My parents tell me we weren't in theaters for Toy Story 1, but for some reason I remember being in theaters, so maybe one of us is lying. Don't know who it is, but I remember the 90s being very heavy on Toy Story in my life. And then Toy Story 3 was just an emotional recklessness, because I was a mess the entire movie, because I was basically graduating from high school the year after this movie came out. So I basically grew up with Andy in real time. And just thinking about it, some of the best movie memories I've ever made include seeing Toy Story 3, because it was just the perfect ending. So when they announced Toy Story 4, I was like, you gotta be kidding me. Like, of course they are, because Disney needs money, but really? You capped it off at that level? so why keep going? But not to make this a long show, but Toy Story 4 finds a way to solidify itself as its own movie, and also it also makes sense as, I guess people have been saying, an epilogue for the Toy Story franchise. If Toy Story 3 was the ending, and they don't make another one, which I'm sure they will eventually, but if they don't make another one, Toy Story 4 is a solid little epilogue for Woody. It's Woody's movie. A lot of the characters we know and love from the first three are they're not put to the side, but there's less focus, or not even any focus at all, on them, because their stories are done. They're happy with Molly, the new kid, no longer Andy, and they're kind of just there for the ride. But they have a couple one-liners, but it's not their story anymore. It's more Woody's. Even Buzz kind of takes a passenger seat to the story of this, even though he has some things to do. This movie is for Woody, it's for Bo Peep, and it's for the new characters that we have. Duke Kaboom, Keanu Reeves, Ducky and Bunny, played by Key and Peele, Gabby, Combat Carls, like all these other random new characters that have implications in the film, but also are entangled in the themes of this film, which are very mature and adult. This movie has a lot of dialogue, and I feel like these movies aren't made for kids, really. They are in how colorful they are and how beautifully animated they are, which the animation, by the way, Pixar flexing on us, like, yeah, you want to see rain look that real? Yeah. You want to see life look that real? Yeah. Look at the detail in the hair. There's little hair sticking out. Look at just the textures on everything. Yeah, we did that. And it's nuts. But yeah, the movies are for kids in the sense that there are colorful vibes, colorful characters, but the themes and the story being told are very adult. And I appreciated how mature the story was for the most part. Forky is the existential character that we all need and love, and he's great. Tony Hale just breathes life into that character. And he's probably one of the best things about the movie, and he's a character that makes you think. He'll make kids think, I'm sure, as they're growing up, like, well, he was made out of trash. People love him anyway, so if I'm trash, people will love me too. It's a weird thing where kids are going to probably have their own little thought process on this. Like, you kind of forget what it's like being a kid. Like, I understand now, as I'm getting older, like, you kind of forget a lot of things that you loved when you were younger, sometimes. Like, little things about being a kid, like, things that you forget, like the naivety of it, and just the innocence of it all. And being in a kid's point of view, I wonder what they think of a character like Forky. They probably just think, oh, he's cute, he's a fork with eyes, and he's very simple looking. But it's the cool thing about these movies is that when you get older, you see more. And I think it's going to be cool for kids growing up to see more out of this movie as they watch it more and more as they grow up. Even the first three too. I guess that's why I felt with the first three movies. The first two movies have a lot going on too. I don't think the movie is still necessary. If at the end of the day, I would still be fine with just the first three Toy Story movies, but it does justify its existence. It does. And I think this is a great ending for a character like Woody, who's been with us since 95, so 24 years. Wow. He's been through a lot. And if they have to make a fifth one, I don't know where they would take it, but I feel like as long as they make the movie's stories this strong, we can keep making one every decade or so. At this point, just keep making one every decade and have a new story to tell that kind of tells new stories. Although this movie is kind of light on plot and there is a little bit of a weird pacing issue, I feel like this movie you do kind of feel the length of it. You never feel dull or bored getting through the journey. And at the end of the day, you enjoy these characters and they're a lot of fun to watch. And you cry at a couple parts. I didn't get emotional the way I thought I would at the end of this movie, but I did get emotional regardless. But it wasn't the emotional abandonment, the emotional craziness that I went through 10 years ago in Toy Story 3, which is 2010. It's been that long. Wow. But yeah, I really, really like Toy Story 4. I wouldn't jump to watch it again, but it does, again, justifies its existence as a movie, and it works as a great companion piece to the first three. After watching the first three, it's a great little epilogue for the main character, Woody. And that's really it. If you've seen Toy Story 1 through 3 and you like them, you need to see this. That's all there is to it. And I guess that's it for today's show. Thank you very much for sticking around if you're here still. I want to know from you guys, what do you think of any of the movies I discussed? What do you think of the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies, Tom Holland, Andrew Garfield? What's your 2 cents if you want to chime in on this mess and try to make this worth it, a conversation? When I talk about Spider-Man, I get very passionate. I can be very passionate, but I do really believe that the Sam Raimi movies are the best, and they'll never be better movies, but I'm always down for new incarnations, and if they are as good as the original incarnation of the cinematic form we got for Spider-Man Peter Parker, or Miles Morales, or whoever, Gwen Stacy, whoever we get, great. Keep making these movies as long as they're going to be that good. But yeah, I'm very excited right now for Spider-Man Far From Home. I wasn't the biggest fan of Homecoming. I enjoyed it, but it didn't really knock my socks off, and every time I watch it, I find things I like about it, a lot about it, but it never hits me emotionally. It doesn't resonate with me the way the first Spider-Man movies did. But again, there are people out there who do feel that way about these movies the way I did and still do about the older movies. But at the end of the day, I just want everybody to have opinions and be able to talk about their opinions without attacking each other. That's it. Because I think Twitter is malicious, social media is malicious. The world could be very scary. Just let's all have a peaceful conversation about things and be happy that people are happy about things, even if they don't agree about certain things. Thing 1 and Thing 2, Cat in the Hat, 2003, Mike Myers. Underrated comedy. Also, underrated horror movie. Yeah, again, if you enjoyed, please comment, ring that bell so you're always reminded for a new video. Subscribe if you want, and stay tuned for more videos. And that's it. Again, I'm John Maffio, a.k.a. MaffmanJones. I'll see you next time. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for watching. Avenge me! Ooh, I tried so hard to make that Willem Dafoe impression. Avenge me! No! You know how much I sacrificed. Hello, my dear. Finish it! Alright, I'm done. Deuces.